Did you see the stars last night? Oh, so bright. The Milky Way was dancing, painting the sky white. Island evenings whisper tales in the breeze, twinkling through the palm trees, just you and me. The scent of the ocean, fresh after rain, reminds me of moments that linger and remain. When I close my eyes, I'm back on that shore, listening to the waves crash, longing for more. The moon sinking slowly into the sea, pounding surf on the outside reefs, wild and free. Waves forming up on
Oh, nice. India Pale Ale.
All you teetotalers.
All you teetotalers, yeah. No, but we can't, you know, can be connoisseurs without even doing them, you know. I can imagine a taste of them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went out last night, I had three pints of cider.
And still living.
And not very much. That's not much of a drink for me. I just thought it was enough.
Yeah. Well, that's enough in it. It's all right.
Yeah. I'm not very good at drinking after I've eaten. I've never been good at that.
Oh,
I could drink and then eat.
yeah.
I couldn't hardly eat and then drink.
The famous after pub curry.
Oh, that's fine with that. That suits me. That's why I like going to places like Greece, because you can eat. Quite late.
Yeah.
What time do they eat in France? Is it late or?
Oh, from 7 till late. I'll probably eat about 11, 12 o'clock tonight.
Yeah. So is it more continental people eat that late?
Well, it is late. You don't get people going in at 5 o'clock for a meal, like, you know.
Right. Yeah, but are restaurants still open that late then?
Yeah. They'd probably be last orders would be about, in summertime, it would be about 10 o'clock or something like that, maybe. Right. On the beach side, down in Penos, it would probably be a bit later.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think, because they always have 2 or 3, it all depends if they have 2 or 3 services.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, so funny, when we go away somewhere, you always find the sort of the restaurants full, and about sort of 5, 6 o'clock, and it's nearly always English people in them.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think they go out, they have something to eat, they go home, have a sleep, and then go out drinking later. Then
yeah, that's what
the sort of routine. But I like to have a drink, and then we'd probably eat about 8 or 9 o'clock, I suppose, when we were abroad, I suppose, on average.
Yeah, but that's about normal, yeah. Yeah. That's a good
thing, because we normally eat around 5:30. Yeah.
Fucking hell. 5:30 is like breakfast time.
Yeah, but you're always told it's bad to eat late before you go to bed, isn't it?
Better off not going to bed in that case.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were doing some weight loss program, and they were saying that they don't do a lot of exercise, but they go for do a lot of exercise just before they go to bed. So they go out at sort of 10:30 and have a sort of really sort of brisk walk, and then go home and go to sleep.
Oh no!
Well, yeah.
Better off having a bit.
The theory is that then your body then continues sort of using up calories as you sleep.
That's why there was sex invented, wasn't it? You know, so you keep fit going to sleep.
Well, he used to put me to sleep nicely.
I'm sure if we had a choice, Con, we'd take that option.
Yeah, true as fuck.
Yeah. So Maybe that's the sort of thing they should start. It should be on the national health. They could send people around if you need to lose weight to sort of come and have sex with you just before you go to sleep.
I got some numbers you can have, Mike.
Yeah. I've seen the red light above your door.
Lose weight, babies, girls. Nocturnal exercise.
I was going to ask you, does that girl who played football still live by you now? Or does she still play?
No, they moved up to Newport because,
I used to see her around with her. I'm sure she had a dog. Did she have a dog?
yeah, they had a little puppy towards the end.
Yeah. And I used to see her on the promenade, but I haven't seen her for ages.
No, they moved about 12 months ago.
Was it all right?
Because the girl used to play rugby for Wales, and the other girl used to play football for what she used to play for Swansea.
Yeah,
ladies.
Yeah, come.
Courtney Kate, and she plays for the Bristol Bears. Plays rugby.
And she still plays for Wales, does she?
Yeah, on the wing.
Yeah, you couldn't really. It was hard to miss them because they were quite
fit.
I don't mean that in the fitness of the word. I mean,
yeah, they were. In fairness.
Yeah, football and rugby muscles.
They were fabulous girls, really fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Sorry, and I looked up that thing. They were naming the new lifeboat, offshore lifeboat.
Oh, the
naming ceremony or something.
The inshore, yeah.
Yeah. But they named it something strange. It's called something like Hugh Patton Morris. Pope.
Yeah, it's the family donated the money for it.
Right. Okay. But I didn't quite understand what it was all. No, I had to go back and have another look. That's my cat.
I know you should see what these two are doing with it.
Come on. I think he wants to go out. Come on. Go out. Kill it.
Abyss is coming back in.
You can see a sparrow or something. We don't get many sparrows around here anymore for some reason.
I know. Oh, no, the light's getting a bit better again, but it must be the light from a window or something like that.
Yeah, it's getting darker now, so it's. Yeah, I was looking at those photos you sent, Mike, of the riddings, and I thought something bloody different about the photo that you tagged me on that was on Facebook. I thought, what's bloody different about that? And then I realised that the bay window, which was in the corner of the bar, was missing.
I said, all right.
Yeah. So, but then you sent something in on Messenger, which I clicked on that, and then that had the photograph of the riddings, which I recognised, which was taken from the top of Park Place.
Yeah, I was trying to find it for you, and I seen the first one, so I tagged you in it. Then I saw the other one about what I was talking about, but it wasn't looking for Park Place. I was looking for somebody to run it by the look of it, is it?
But I just think, have you read much of the, because the link that you sent was what was advertising the people that they're trying to interest. And the first load of people that they're trying to interest were the students. And I thought, I thought to myself, well, things have obviously changed, because I can remember Jim Circum, who was the landlord when I was, what was I, about 16, 17, 18. And all the students used to come in, and they used to sit in the bay window in the bar. And they'd be there from like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the night, with half a pint of beer, and that would last them all night.
Mm.
And people used to get pissed off because they said, "Why didn't you kick all these students out? They take in the bay window, which everybody wanted, and they're not drinking anything." And I just thought it was ironic that times have changed now, that they're trying to encourage students who they're the people that they want to try and interest to go there.
Yeah, I don't
Only
know.
ones with any money to spend.
Pardon?
They're the only ones with any money to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they never want to bloody spend it. Well, at least they didn't when I was that
No.
age going to the Riddens.
Yeah, but that was only 50 years ago, after all.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
50 years amongst friends.
but yeah. Yeah,
50 fucking years. Oh, shit.
Yeah, amazing.
yeah.
It's
50 odd
it's
years.
probably a bit
It's more
longer
than 50 years, Gary. It's 60 years.
Yeah.
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 I used to get I used to get in a lot of trouble in that place because I mean, most nights I would go out with Marion, but before I go down for her at about 7:30, I used to call in the Riddens and help Jim bottle up all behind the bar. So I used to fill all the shelves up, have a couple of pints, go down, pick Marion up, and then either go down to town or the Trafalgar or wherever we were going, and I'd take her home then by 10 o'clock, 10:30 or something like that, and then because last orders was 10:30, and then I tap on the window in the Riddens because there was always afters in there, and I'd be in there till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and
The good old days.
I used to get in a lot of trouble in
Isn't
those
it?
days.
The lock-in, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a job. I seem to remember I had a job in the chip shop opposite,
Oh yeah, yeah,
peeling potatoes and chipping the potatoes, like. But it was all done with machine, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody worked there for a while.
But that was a good thing about the Riddens because you could go and have something to eat there and then go back in the pub. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
These days, they'd probably encourage you to bring your chips into the pub.
Yeah.
That's sort of quite a normal thing these days to bring your own food into pubs.
It was always good because I can always remember Cled was he had a son and a daughter. Cledwin was a few years older than me, and he was quite a drinker in those days. And I can remember I had a Morris 1000 van at the time, and I'd gone up there on a Friday night, too pissed to take the van home, so I obviously got home, and then you wake up on a Saturday morning, look out at my parents' bedroom window. No, the van isn't there. Where did I leave it? And I remember that it was outside the Riddens, parked on the hill.
You must have had a good if you were in your parents' bedroom.
Well, no, I'd got up to go into bed. They'd got up and gone, but I can remember going up the Riddens then to get my van, and the handbrake hadn't held it, and it had rolled down into the back of a car, and there was a notice on the windscreen, please knock number so-and-so, so-and-so. So I looked and I could see, well, didn't look as if there was any damage, but I was only a flipping kid, so I say kid, 17 or 18. So I went up then and knocked the door on the Riddens, and Cled came down, and I said, come with me a minute and give me a hand by her. So he came down, he knocked the door because he was a big lump of a bloke. And when the bloke came out and saw it was him, and he said, oh, it's okay, just wanted to let you know that that your van had rolled down and everything was all right. So I got away with that one.
I think Francis Jones was the worst. He would leave the car all over the place, and he could never remember in the morning what it was.
Yeah, yeah,
He'd leave it all over the place.
yeah. It
Yeah,
was
booze.
awkward.
Mm.
It was awkward. but he always owed me a couple of favours, Cled, because he had a greyhound, and he used to race it at in Skewin dog track. And because I had the van, it was the ideal thing for taking the greyhound to the races. So he owed me a favour. So yeah,
Do you ever give any tips?
yeah. Don't put money on a greyhound.
Yeah. Best tip ever.
Yeah,
That's some cracking times in the dogs.
yeah.
I won a lot of money with the dog. A Greek friend of mine, he was called Zorba the Greek, and it went on and on. It raced in the Derby in the end.
Is that White City, is it?
Huh?
You were at White City.
White City and Wimbledon.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that would have been legitimate. We are talking Skewin and Forest Park, and this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the thing, well, the point is, I was going to say, he'd never say the dog is going to win, but he'd just say, I'm going to have a bet on him tonight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
invariably, it ran well that night. He'd won about 5 times out of 7. They got into the final.
Yeah.
He said then he wouldn't win, but I put some money on for him as well. Like he was putting like 10, 15, 20,000 on it.
Yeah.
You know, but
So
spreading it all out.
what they used to do up in Skewin was, and in Forest Park, you'd see them, they'd be walking their dogs, and then when you'd have to arrive at the track like a good hour before the racing started, and you would hand the dog in, and you weren't allowed access to the dog again, supposedly. But if you knew the people that looked after the kennels, they could get in there. And what they do is, if it was a new dog, they take it to the dog track, and just before the race, they go in the bar, buy a big pie,
Yeah.
hold the pie in front of the dog, and the dog would wolf that flipping pie down, right, just before the race, so that the dog wasn't gonna go anywhere, because he'd have this bloody big steak and kidney pie rolling around inside him. So they'd either do that, or they'd get a bit of chewing gum, and they'd put the chewing gum between the toes of the dog. Nobody could see it, but there'd be a bit of chewing gum in between his toes, and he couldn't run properly then. And you do that for they'd have like 6 races for like 6 weeks, which were the qualifying races, and they take an average of their times, and then they like on the 6th week, then they'd say, right, they'll put him in the proper race, and then they'd walk the bloody dog, and they'd starve him for a flipping week, so that night he was going for it.
Yeah. It's called stopping.
Yeah.
We used to. Do you remember Charlie Jones?
No.
He used to
Don't
be
ring a bell.
he used to be an external planner in BT, and he gave up BT, and he started a bookies, one on Mount Pleasant Hill, and then another one in the West Cross. And we used to keep a book. We used to keep the book in Forest Park and in Skewin.
All right.
So we used to do on-track booking. So we thought we knew when the dogs were being stopped, but the amount of fiddling that went on in the dog tracks is enormous.
Yeah.
But White City is a different sort of thing
Oh
altogether.
yeah. You probably got to give the dog in a day before, something like that.
Oh, they dope test them and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in Forest Park, they used to give them a Mars bar before they
That's
could
right,
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it like at Wimbledon, as you said, they did tests on all the dogs. They had a vet looking them before as well to make sure they hadn't eaten anything. So it was, but it's all to do with training as well. It's like anything, isn't it? You can train or not train a dog.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's it. But I think they even inspected the training of a dog as well sometimes.
Mm.
They went to inspect them.
One of the things that they couldn't pick up, but it used to used to make the dog come out of the box a little bit faster. As they put them in, they put aftershave on their hands and put that on their ass.
Yeah.
They'd come out like a fucking rocket then.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was
I'm going to say there's a difference here because I saw a guy once training the greyhound down at Swansea Beach, and he had a fishing rod with a teddy bear on it,
Hmm.
and he just used to sort of reel it in and get the dog running along after it.
Yeah,
That was his training for the dog.
yeah.
Whereas the more sophisticated trainers have almost their own race ground tracks now, don't they?
When we first started going up to Forest Park, Charlie had and his wife, they just had an old English sheepdog puppy. So that's all it, you know, it was only sort of 18 inches long, little furry white thing, pretty as hell. And he brought that in. And the blokes up there said, get that fucking thing out. And of course, what does the greyhound chase? It chases fluffy things that fly around the track.
Yeah.
They went to this puppy.
Yeah. But I really used to, I don't know, I don't think I ever went to skewing dogs, but I'm got a feeling it may be a bit different because at Wimbledon at the end, you could sit there, you have a 3-course meal, you had a box in front of the window, and somebody come around and take your bets.
You didn't have,
maybe a bit different.
you didn't have that in Forest Park.
No, no. And we used to call to this. It used to be on a Friday night. I remember the race meeting was in Skewin.
Yeah,
And,
2 days of
and we used to go to this place. It was just a terraced house in Skewin, and he sold food for greyhounds. Because I remember every now and again he'd say to me, "Oh, can we go and pick up some food?" And the first time I went there, and I said, "What food?" And he said, "Oh, there's this bloke that they put me on to," and he'd go up there. And he was selling horse meat. Where he used to get it from, I don't know. But you'd have a bloody big chunk of red meat. If somebody told you it was beef, you'd believe them because it just looked like a bloody big lump of beef. And it was a couple of quid. And then he'd take this bloody big lump of red meat and he'd put it in a saucepan and he'd boil it. And it flipping stunk. But it was whole raw horse meat.
Nothing wrong with horse meat. I've eaten horse meat.
Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you've had loads, Con.
yeah,
Nay, he says.
yeah.
Yeah. It's nice stuff.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
There is no dog racing in Wales, though, is there? It's been
Not
banned.
anymore.
Was it?
Well, it's probably illegal dog racing going on, I suppose.
But I don't think the dog racing is illegal, is it?
In Wales, it is, yeah, they banned it.
Did
Yeah. I
know
had a
dog
quick
baiting.
check.
Baiting they did. I didn't know they banned dog racing.
They,
I think it was a case they made the rules so strict that the people that owned the tracks couldn't be asked to maintain the tracks to the standard that they'd set out. So it fell by the wayside then. Because the amount of dogs that used to lose toes because they were running on gravel basically, whereas in White City, and Wimbledon, they're running on dust, because they're racing. But Forest Park, there's nothing. You'd often see dogs with a vet and they've lost toes going around the bends.
Yeah.
yeah, it has been banned. Yeah. Why was Graham racing,
isn't it?
is it banned in Wales? Yeah.
I didn't know strippers were banned in Swansea till quite recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strippers. You're not allowed to have a strip joint in Swansea.
That puts me.
Any?
Yeah?
That puts me on a
worry.
Yeah. Because when that Coyote Ugly opened, there was a bit of thing about that. They were allowed to dance on the bar, but not in a cage. which is a bit strange with this, apparently.
Has there
Well,
ever?
Am I hallucinating, or did they used to have strippers in some pubs?
Yeah.
They did, didn't they?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know about Swansea. I know they did in London. Sunday morning, you could have cheese and
Yeah, something like that. Cheese and strippers, something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd come round afterwards with a glass pot, and you put money in there.
Yeah, I can remember we always knew that if on the odd occasion years ago, if you were asked to work a Sunday in work, everybody'd say yes. And you knew that sort of 12:30, everybody would meet in Port Talbot because there was a place in Port Talbot, sort of 12:30, they had a strip show in there.
Yeah.
And it was
There's
a
never
bit of-
been a proper strip joint in Swansea, though, is there?
No.
No.
No, it was banned. And it was rebanned again, I think, in the 70s when somebody tried to do something. They wanted what was it?
There was a gentleman's club in Wine Street, wasn't there?
Yeah, Raymond's Review, something like that. They went to open one of them. Oh no, what's the name? What's the Spearmint Rhino?
Yeah.
And they were not allowed to. There used to be one in Walters Road, didn't they? But there's snooker up above the
I mean, strip club
Walters
now or
Road?
brothel.
Huh?
I think you're talking about a soup kitchen.
Yeah,
That's the same as a brothel, only cheaper.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was in Walters Road, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mansell
Yeah,
Street.
there's one,
Was it above one of the men's clubs or something?
Club 52.
Well, it's on about brothels now.
Club 52.
Yeah, it was a bit. It was a
Never
men's.
went.
There was a men's club, and there's a separate place above it.
I remember there's one St Helens Road, Mansell Street, High Street, Walters Road.
Not that he ever went to any of them.
No.
Never.
No, I don't know if I've told you this before. When I brought all the guys down from London to come and play football, the vets team, about 1 o'clock, 3 of them thought it was a good idea to, go to a strip club or a brothel. And they asked me, I said, look, I got no idea, sort of thing. So they got a taxi, and they asked one taxi, he didn't know. So then another one came, and he said, yeah, I know. And off they went. I don't know where they went, but I got a feeling they went up somewhere almost opposite where we used to live, Con, the way they described it. So they said up past the rugby ground round there in Bryn Mill. And they knocked on the door, and a woman came. They said she must have been 68, with sort of almost like curlers in her hair and an nightie on. And she just opened the door and said, "Fuck off." And that was it. They weren't impressed with Swansea on that front, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
You'd think you would have had an history like that with all the sailors and the docks and everything, wouldn't you?
Well, there was down the docks. There was loads down the docks. I mean, you used to have the red light district, didn't you?
Yeah.
Sort of, just behind Clarence Terrace, but by the sort of gasworks.
And the museum steps, and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was when the Gloucester place. I remember falling in one day when I was a kid, when I was in the Sea Cadets, and there was a pub in Gloucester Place. I think it was called the Gloucester Inn or something, and we used to call in there for a packet of crisps and a Coke, and you'd see the women playing their trade.
Mm.
Well, a long time ago, and I'm not going to elaborate, but there used to be a brothel in Park Street, in Mumbles.
Is there?
Yes.
Allegedly.
More than that, but because I get shot, like that.
They're
Were.
still there, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that was just after the war specifically.
The family, I'll have to ask Sharon, because her family lived in Park Street. In Mumbles,
Yeah, she'll know about it.
Oh, okay. She never told me, that's for sure. One day, I don't know if Con was with us. I can't remember who was with us. I got in Di Wills was with us. And we were walking along the railway line, like where, you know where the Chinese restaurant is down in the docks there? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
But the Mumbles Train Museum.
Oh, yeah.
The railway line goes over the top, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And when we were going along there, doing whatever we were doing, so probably being bad, there was some guy screwing a woman down below us on the grass bank sort of thing. There was a wall and a grass bank that went down behind it. And us being us, I think we were about 13 or 14. Our main thing there was to throw stones down at them. So in the middle of his milk stroke, we were throwing stones, and he suddenly got up and started, like, we run for the whole length of the track. I'm sure he chased us for about sort of 1 yard, I would imagine. But the strange thing was, it was like that joke with Superman, because the girl was still laying there cross with her legs like that in the air, and he'd gone. He was just
Yeah.
You nasty bastard.
well, as I said, we were only 12 or 13. We weren't really sure what was going on. I don't think. But you couldn't see much, only this bloke's arse. So it actually was a sort of produce a plan to see what was underneath him. But yeah, around that area there used to be loads of sort of prostitutes and everything. Then wherever there's people, there's going to be prostitutes, isn't there?
Oldest trade.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know. Maybe there is in Swansea these days. I don't know. I don't even know. You found out at one point taxi drivers or police would tell you, wouldn't they?
No, I worked in the taxis. I'd never heard of one.
No.
Nobody had ever asked me. No, I was working for Knockdown Tax, or something like that. My dad was there, so he was working on it. He got me the job there. I can't remember some extreme places up the valleys, really ropey, dodgy type of places where you think you're going to get done in, like, you know. I never got asked to go to a strip club or something like that.
Yeah. All these places had telephones, see, so they had to be visited because they would go faulty at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, Biscuit. Yeah.
Yeah. Changing the subject from prostitutes to does anybody use cabs anymore? Do you like Uber cabs or anything like that?
Yeah, every Friday night.
How do you find them?
I use yellow cabs, I do.
I know I meant Uber, but
I've used Uber, but the problem is with Uber that you go on the app, and I've used them a few times, and it'll tell you can have a taxi in 10 minutes.
yeah.
It can be a certain taxi, or you can have, this is the price, or you can have an executive car which will be there in 15-20 minutes, and the price will go up, and you'll pay there and then you get a message then saying that there's no cars available. There'll be another 10 minutes, which is what happened to me the last time.
All right.
And so you wait another 10 minutes, and then they had another message to say still no cars available. It'll be another 10 minutes, and that's the way it goes. And then
Good job of catching an airplane, isn't it?
yeah, so I just rang yellow cabs then, and they came. They were more guaranteed. So I swear I'd never use them again.
No, so I can get mixed response because when I use yellow cabs, but it's people said, it's half the price Uber.
I think the good thing that Uber did was the prices all came down, because I used to pay about 12 quid. It would be about a tenner, and I'd give him 2 quid. But now I can get to my door, and it varies between £7.60 and £7.80. So the prices come down quite a bit.
And what's that? About 3-4 miles, is it? 3 miles?
Yeah, probably from Eversey Road to my house.
So I know it's gone horrendously expensive to get into Swansea from here now.
Yeah.
I think somebody said that, like I went once, but it was somebody said it was about £14.50 or something.
Yeah.
It was £7 on the bus apparently.
Yeah. The only problem with it is, I mean, I phone up at about 6 o'clock to book it because Marion takes me over there, and then I get a taxi back. So I book the taxi before I leave the house, and they send you a text message to confirm that you booked it. But like on the Saturday morning, then you've got to get rid of all these text messages because you get a text message to tell you it's been dispatched. Then you get a text message to say it's outside and what the registration is and what the car is. And I think I'm not sure if it tells you what the driver's name is, which is great.
Drive.
Which I suppose is great from a woman's point of view. But then you get a text message when you get out. And thank you for using yellow cabs, and hope to see you again soon.
I don't know, we go into the shop here and they still keep you waiting for 10 minutes. We went in last night, we weren't getting the cab, but somebody else was, we were waiting with them, they said 10 minutes. Then 10 minutes later, they said, oh, it'll be 10 minutes in Langland. I thought, hang on, it doesn't take 10 minutes to get from Langland to Numbers.
No.
Yeah, it will be by the time he gets to Langland.
Yeah.
You want to try getting a taxi from Skirledge? Last time I got one, it was 40 quid, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Should be cheap.
Kept 40 quid would be an average for a short taxi ride here.
In France?
Yeah.
We were in Portugal, and the taxis were ridiculously cheap. And I mean, silly cheap.
Yeah.
You wouldn't bother, you just use a taxi.
The train is cheap there, isn't it? It's about £1, £2 or €2.
Everything's
Go for an hour, 2 hours.
all cheap. Everything was cheaper there.
Perfect sight. When I close my eyes, I'm back on that shore, listening to the waves crash, longing for more. The moon sinking slowly into the sea, pounding surf on the outside reefs, wild and free. When I'm away from this place I love, I look up at night at the stars above. The Milky Way takes me back again to the island with waves that never end. It's in those quiet nights where the magic flows. Sea breeze in my hair, where the wildflower grows. Remembering laughter, the warmth of your touch, every star a memory. Oh, I miss you so much. When I close my eyes, I'm back on that shore, listening to the waves crash, longing for more. Sinking slowly into the sea, pounding surf on the outside reefs, wild and free. So let's chase the stars under the island skies, with the Milky Way as our guide, forever our